If you're a faith based entrepreneur, the chances are high that you are going to be made to feel crazy. And I'm not talking about one time, I'm talking about numerous times throughout your journey as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Now, let me explain to you what I mean when I say faith based entrepreneur. I'm not talking about someone who works for a nonprofit or that it has to be in the church. I'm talking about someone whose business is founded, who has a foundation and a baseline on biblical truths, on what the teachings of Jesus Christ are. And so here's why I'm going to tell you, or why I can confidently tell you that you're going to be made to feel crazy, because that's been the case for me for almost 20 years. And here's what I want to encourage you with: you're not crazy. We're going to call us committed. Now, here's what that first crazy looks like. Oftentimes, it's going to be where we look at ourselves and we ask ourselves, are we crazy? Are we trying to do a thing for God, a thing for the church, for the world that's bigger than us, that we don't even understand or know that is possible? Because that's the reality that we live in. Just because we want to do this thing, there are no guarantees. And so we start asking ourselves, are we crazy for trying to undertake this endeavor that is risky, when the safe, easy, sane thing to do would be to what? Get a job, to go and work under someone else, to not take the risk, to not lay it all out on the line. And so we start asking ourselves, are we crazy? No, we know you are not. If you're like me, you probably started your entrepreneurial journey with this idea, and then you heard this voice or you felt this nudge, and you start asking yourself, God, is that you? Would you really encourage me? Would you really push me to do this thing in this area and then have me use this for your kingdom, for your people? And if you have been obedient in that, maybe you felt crazy when you realized that things weren't going to be easy, that while the path was clear, there were still obstacles and hurdles that we had to overcome as faith based entrepreneurs or business owners. Maybe you said, God, I've heard you. I have been obedient, but this thing is still being met with challenge and obstacle and hurdle one after another. Then we start asking ourselves as owners, as entrepreneurs, did I really hear from God? Am I supposed to do this thing? So that's the first time we're going to feel crazy. Like, am I doing this thing? Am I really pursuing something that is worthwhile, that's bigger than me? The next time that you're probably going to feel crazy is when the business environment says, hey, you have a great idea, but you know you could be more successful if you ditch that whole faith part. If you didn't say God or Jesus, or if you didn't believe, maybe if you just took some shortcuts, besides, no one's going to know. Or if your business environment and industry, where you are the only light in a dark world, where you're going to start asking yourselves, am I crazy? Are they right? Should I be doing this thing a little bit differently? I mean, I know what the word says. I know what the Bible teaches. I know these biblical principles, but do they apply to business? Are they relevant in this realm that I find myself in? And then, especially when we have our family members and friends looking at us saying, are you crazy? Maybe you should take the safe route. Don't go out on your own. You have a great job. You have benefits. There's something in us that says what? But this is what I'm supposed to do. When was the last time you were made to feel crazy, either by your business environment or by those who are closest to you? Have they challenged you lately and said, are you sure you really heard from God? Are you sure that this isn't just indigestion or just a spur of the moment deal? has that feeling, or have those feelings made you start to question, should I do things different? Should I pull back just a little bit? Should I now get back on that path of safety? Well, here's what I'm going to encourage you with. Oftentimes, my mom would always tell me, do the last thing. Be obedient in the last thing that you were told to do. Be obedient in that last instruction that you received. So if you haven't received any new instructions, keep going, keep doing what you're supposed to do. Now, this is a very funny, very odd, very unfortunate one that I'm going to share here. The ones that make us feel craziest often are going to be those in the church, those who are believers, those who are Christians, those who say, well, you know that you should be about the Lord's, about our Father's business. And we respond, how? That's exactly what I'm doing. I am doing what God has put me here to do. But they're going to say, no, well, you should really go into ministry, that secular world, that secular job. And we start to feel crazy. Why? Because we say, this is what God told me to do. Well, God spoke to me also, and he believes, well, hold on, wait a minute. I respect you. But the same God that talks to you is the same God that I talk to every day, right? And so we have to be careful not to allow those negative influence, even those from positive people, from the people who love us and the people who love God, make us think that we are crazy. Because if you aren't careful, you will take your assignment, this job, this industry, this career that you are supposed to go in and be a light in to change, and you will pull back. Those feelings, that pressure, that indecision, or just the feelings of, taking back love, or feelings of separation from others that really care about us and that we care about, it will be too great. And then we will falter. We will not be walking the journey that God has put us here to be. Because here's what I believe, here's what I've learned, I've experienced, and what I continue to see on a day-to-day basis. There are secular people, there are people who are non-believers, who are using biblical principles and biblical truths to their advantage. Why? In the business world. Because we, as believers, we as Christ followers, we have gotten away from those principles. The secrets to success, how to 10x, how to grow your business, all of that. Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, Wisdom Writer. Go through, look at these things. And then we'll realize that we aren't crazy, that we're just committed. So I want to ask you right now, where in your business have you been made to feel crazy? Is it because you are a visionary, because God has shown you some things and maybe you need to keep those visions to yourself? Is it because you are being met with challenge after challenge and you're saying, well, if God really told me to do this thing, it should be a little bit easier. Maybe you need to hold on a little bit longer. Are you feeling crazy because inside of your workplace or your industry, you are being met with opposition from those that call you friend, colleague, peer, that say they respect you? Are you feeling crazy right now as an entrepreneur or business owner? Because every time you stand up and you do what's right, it seems like the wrong results happen, not to everyone else, but to you. Well, here's where I want to encourage you. I want to challenge you. Dig into your word. Find those scriptures. Make them first person. Don't speak about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Talk about the God of you. So when I talk about the God of me, Neil's God, I talk about how he's brought me through ups and downs in the 20 years that I've been in the real estate industry, of the times when I didn't know where the deals or the income was going to come from. And he showed up over and over again. So for me, that's my lion. That's my bear that David defeated before he faced Goliath. And so here's what I want to challenge you with today. Can I challenge you to appear crazier than ever before? And all that really means is I want you, like myself, to go further, deeper, harder with your commitments to God in the area that you're in. I believe that the world needs to see godly people win in industry, that we are here for a purpose. Maybe your ministry is the bakery that you're supposed to open. Maybe your ministry is going to be that child care or nursery that you're supposed to be at and station and have worldly people see what the love of Christ looks like to their kids. Maybe you're supposed to be a speaker, a entrepreneur, a business owner, a real estate broker, mogul, so that people can see that God's children really do win. There's this whole idea that if God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and the hills themselves, if all of the riches belong to God our Father, why wouldn't He, as a good father, want His children to reap and receive the inheritance? Not on the other side of glory, but right here. So I want to encourage you. I want to tell you that you're not crazy, that you are committed. Now, where can we get more committed? I would love to hear that in the comment section of this video. I want to encourage you by saying that I love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time I see you or you see me, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.